Oh my god. This has no barcodes. You wouldn't believe it was Korea, even if I told you, but trust me, guys, we're here in Korea. As spawning the bottom left side, recently moving there, albeit not permanently, it is going to be the purple Zerg, Scarlett.
In the top left, as the Red Terran, it's reality.
Also, I don't know where you are currently on this spectrum because you seem to bounce in and out of it, but just on the off chance you guys hear some names dropped, Sasha is Scarlett's real name, and I know that in the past we've had people get confused as to whom Zamriab is referring. So, if you hear Sasha at any point during the cast, just know that that's Scarlett.
I've only ever faltered once.
It's been more
I
than
know, 'cause you
once. I just don't
called
care.
me out
I
on
don't
it.
care enough to bring it up many times. But anyways, for this matchup, I'm really excited to see how this shapes up because reality has been, I don't know about you, but at least in my eyes, just like one of the Terrans you set the standards at. Like, this is a guy who only Beyond and him could kill each other at a point in StarCraft 2. No other race could touch him. No other player could really come close to him. And that was pretty much exclusively early on, and obviously things have changed since then. But reality has always been, in my books, a very, very solid Terran player.
Yeah, solid is a pretty good word for it. Still isn't winning all the Olimoleagues, obviously. It's actually usually like soul keys back, to be honest.
He hasn't actually been competing in that many, though, in fairness. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to defend him or anything, but he really, like, we've been talking about this, like, where's reality and Journey and Beyond and all our Terrans that we normally see alive? Like, what happened? Where'd they go?
Nowhere. They literally went to nowhere.
There's actually, there's a fun note about reality. I can't remember which IEM it was, but there's a qualifier where I had never heard of reality before, and I feel terrible for saying that now, obviously, but at the time I had never heard of reality, and Nathanius was casting him, and he proxy thored another Terran. And I was just like, okay, I'm fucking sold. Like this guy.
That was a long time ago.
It was, and what broke my heart was every time we tried to do a show match or something, I'd always reach out to Samsung, and reality basically back then, I think, because not saying he's bad now, but he was better in comparison then, really refused to play in anything that was not big money. And it wasn't his team saying no, it was like him. So I'm really glad that he had a shift in attitude, and we've been seeing him play in more stuff. Like, whether it is something quote-unquote small like the Olimoleague or doing well in all the big Korean leagues, I'm just glad to see more reality. But enough about riding reality for a moment. It's good to see Scarlett as well. First foreigner we've seen make it to the monthly finals, I think worth noting.
Well, Neeb did he?
But he didn't show up. He didn't
Yeah.
accept. So like, he didn't actually show to the monthly finals.
That was disappointing. Yeah. So I guess like any win here, though she technically already won, is already pretty impressive.
Right. In context of that, on the brackets, she was meant to play Horror, but Horror didn't show today. He was too scared to play against Scarlett, so she got the walkover.
Yeah. Totally.
I mean, I
He
presume
was
that's
scared
the
to
case.
all in her 2 times in a row.
Yeah. He's like, my failing roaches aren't feeling so hot today, so I'm gonna go to sleep.
So we didn't really note. It is pretty common on Arena, which is why it's not like super noteworthy. But this Roach push, or more precisely a Ravager push, just 3 Ravagers, and then you poke at a supply depot or a bunker. Hope that this is repairing, which is exactly what Reality's trying to stop. With only 3 Ravagers, it's not consistent corrosive bile. So
he actually did he give up on repairing this? I was like, he could still keep that alive.
yeah, I was gonna say I almost made a mistake.
There's an important aspect of the tank coming up for this, because I think a lot of players would love to just rush to that front line. Ooh, nice chase with the Marines. Would love to rush to that front line and just, get that tank set up and push this back, thinking that'll be dandy. But if you siege the tank, it'll get corrosive bile and die. So that medevac is very important, as it will be what shuffles the tank around.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah,
Actually, with some of these Ravagers being low, this is going to be straight up kills.
Oh, they used the corrosive bile to try and hit the Marines. I don't know if they're gonna be able to do the tank.
Ooh, Scarlett,
even
what are these
without
doing
that.
here? Run! Run!
Yeah, they gotta run. So she did go for a faster layer behind this, try and get to what I imagine is actually muted to help deal with a tank push that comes later. This is a tank push, obviously, but it's like a very light one. Only 1 tank, only 3 Marines. Hopefully, like Queens will be able to deal with this, but not too many Queens available right now.
Scarlet's
One coming
Overlords
down
are
to the main.
Scarlet's Overlords, okay, a little bit out of position certainly, but they are priority targets for picks. Not only does the supply blocker, as we see, but that's quite a bit of money to spend early on. So she's making 4 to compensate. She didn't actually lose that many. I mean, we make jokes about the Overlords cheesing it, but they did get out of there alive. A little bit scary on the tank. Ravager's going to give chase and kill a couple of the Marines as well. But for reality, back at home, behind this minor aggression, he got production going. He got the extra barracks thrown down. He's getting tech labs and reactors, you name it. There is this bit of a lull that is a bit awkward in Terran production early on, where you have to get these add-ons. Once they're set, you're like, great, Terran's OP, like garbage race, broken, whatever. But up until that point, the production's not so good.
So that is the Spire. It's so expected. What is unexpected is if she does add on like a Baneling Nest. I really don't know if she's gonna do that though. Needling Bling, I just never liked on this map. Still don't like it. And Alrena's been in the map pool for quite some time. If there's the Roach speed, I don't think that's gonna be the case. Evolution Chamber's finally coming down as well, and the game's gonna go into a macro game. Now, it is important to note that Reality went for a third CC, and an actually a really obvious one too. I suppose anywhere he put it, it was probably going to get scouted. Although this one, funnily enough, like plain sight, not scouted yet, because the two base push, especially the two base like push after the Ravager attack, is just so common. You come up with 3 tanks, you rally everything else because it's a short distance.
Yeah,
and
you
just
hug the little cliff.
To abuse that position. But I guess a lot of Zergs are getting better at predicting that, stalling it until mutas are out. And once mutas are out, it does become a lot easier to deal with. So he doesn't bother really with that specific tank push, as he is still going with tanks. Like he will eventually push with tanks. But with combat shield, with 1-1, with a third CC down.
Well, combat shield's not super late. It's still going to be delayed though. Sim's not done yet, so hasn't even begun. I am a little bit worried about that, but with the army supply lead for Reality right now, Scarlett should definitely be scared. I mean, this push coming is not the biggest one we've ever seen, but it's quite the army supply backing it up.
Oh,
Tanks.
Well, good thing that Corsair Gear didn't need that one tank.
I need like a Three Stooges soundboard I can play for moments like that. Wow, yeah.
Well, I said the mutas would be able to help out, but only if the Marines weren't stimming in here. The mutas would help out with the medevacs, with the tanks, but she needs something to deal with the actual Marines, and nothing is here.
Why bring the Marines to your tanks? So you can bring your tanks to the Marines.
Yeah, right? I think she's just going to lose. She wouldn't expect such a powerful attack so soon. And to note, this is a little bit too soon for Reality to push out, especially for him to push out and actually stim in. That was a very bold move from him as he realized he had an opportunity. It was just before 1-1. It still doesn't have combat shields. And really, you know, like a safer Terran would have waited for all of that to push in.
Yeah, I agree. We see later timings for those attacks. And for Reality, I think one of the biggest, first off, GG, but one of the other aspects of this too is like if he had pushed with that and lost even just like one tank right off the bat, like one mishandling of a Corsair Gear, that takes away so much power from that push. And actually, there's not, you talk about Terran production being slow early on, like there's not a lot of recovery from losing that much that early. So that was certainly risky. The risk paid off for it though, and sometimes StarCraft 2 is very methodical, sometimes it's a little bit of a gamble. Either way, great push as it did lock game number 1 down. Now, of course, it's a best of 3, though, so Scarlett's not out of this yet. Next round's going to be a best of 5, where the winner of this will go on to fight against Seed in a Blank versus Protoss. Certainly be interesting to see how that goes. But I'm Zerg, handicap 50%, color light pink, race random.
Oh, yeah, that's too far out there, right?
Yeah, Scarlett. She's kind of a big deal. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's the other player in the match.
No. Okay. Well, you know, I was distracted. I thought I was missing a caster because there's so many to include.
Okay, well, ready whenever they are. Dusk Towers being a much more normal map for Scarlett and bigger, so she won't have to worry about fast pushes like that. We'll see you guys in just a moment. Alright, to be certain, my StarCraft just crashed. What the fuck?
Wait, what?
I don't know. Like, I tabbed in and, like, my game crashed. So, I hope you have Raf. You can tell me to remake.
I do.
Okay, so really quick, chat's asking a couple questions. We'll get StarCraft back open to answer. Number 1, is this live? If you're watching this on April 20th, dang 420 Vape Nation, then yes, it is live. If you're not watching this then it's not live. Secondly, apparently Olimoleague reset for 24 months, but it's not showing up on the overlay, nor is it did I hear a sound. I don't know, guys. Twitch alerts has been really janky lately and not reliable. It's kind of getting a bit annoying, to be honest, but know that we love you, Olimoleague, and we're sorry that we missed it. I'm actually just going to go refresh the page and see if that helps. I can't say that it will, but it doesn't hurt to try. Anyways, gonna get back in that lobby. But yeah, so weird. Like for those who don't know, like I don't tab out to like go be frivolous on watch a bunch of like porn while the maps are loading, but I do have to tab out to do the map intros. So tabbing back in, I don't know, it just basically made a funny noise and StarCraft said I'm not working anymore and died. That's pretty much how it played out.
Good deal. That's about right.
We're missing O Gaming.
Yeah, I'm looking for him.
Where'd they is?
Where'd they go?
All right, well, we'll get this going in a sec. BC puts out a very interesting tweet. Because for those, okay, spoiler alert, cover your ears. If you don't want to hear results of like the Kung Fu Cup, shut your stream off right now. I'll give you 5 seconds, all right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Snoot beat Zest. Fucking phenomenal. That's so cool. Zest is like one of the staple Protoss players, so he's just like one of the best there are. So to see Snoot beat him is cool, but Beastie, I'm gonna skip the intro for this because this bothers me. Beastie says it's funny how some people bash foreigners that they can't win versus Koreans, and when they do, someone Snoot versus Zest, they make excuses for the Koreans. This happens all the time. Everyone's just talking about ping, or like it was really late at night, or like this guy didn't stand a chance anyways because of like other conditions. And I think sometimes you just have to take face value as like a proud fucking accomplishment to see one of our favorite foreigners, Snoot, do such a great and frankly like magnificent task. Like you could tell me all day that Reality was playing that, or not Reality, excuse me, that Zest played that series with one hand tied behind his back on 500 ping. And I'd still be like, great, but Snoot fucking won. Like that. Anyways, just a bit frustrated because I love seeing foreigners do well, and it sucks when people start making excuses all over the place. And that's certainly already happening on Reddit and some Twitter. But anyways, let's focus on the games at hand here in the Olimoleague. This tournament, of course, is brought to you thanks to not any one sponsor, but indeed many, many individuals. The Patreon is what pushes this forward, and patreon.com/Olimoleague is a great way to get involved for as little as $1 a week or more if you're willing, but there's cool rewards. It's the only way to get replay packs from these tournaments, and of course learn about some of the secret stuff behind the scenes and have your opinions weigh on how the Olimoleague goes forward. At any rate, it's game number 2 though. In the bottom left side of Dust Towers, we've got the Pink Cirque player, Scarlett.
The top right as the Red Terran, it's Reality.
Also, I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but thank you for letting me just rant.
I mean, I couldn't really say very much because, I mean, I'm not on board with the Zest Snoot thing, but I was on board with the Marine Lord Oculan Koreans thing.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of different aspects of it. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cherry pick too much. It just, it seems to happen rather. It's not that it happens often enough that this is a regular issue, but the few times it does happen, it happens consistently the same. Like,
well, that's yes it does. I don't know. So I just let you rant.
Anyways, 3 bases taken from Scarlett right off the bat, so it is Dust Towers, something you can usually get away with. I actually can't really off the top of my head think of too much Reality could do other than like proxy Reapers or something that would make Scarlett regret this decision. So she's pretty good to go.
Yeah, and a proxy Reaper isn't totally unheard of. Neither is a 3 racks, but that's because we cast people like Ruff in Lake Need. So
I, speaking of which, have been doing a lot of shitty builds on ladder lately, half of which I would attribute to Ruff, mentioning before. I tried his weird +1 Reaper build, and it worked. It didn't work, then it worked. But I think I told you briefly. Have I told you how I've been playing recently?
No.
So,
oh wait, no, yes you did. Yes you did.
Shout outs to anybody I fought on the ladder in the last 48 hours. Because whether it's Terran, Zerg, or Protoss, I've been doing this like retarded battlecruiser first build. And it's beating Masters players. I don't understand why, but it is. And I can't wait. I would love to see like a Pro Terran show me how to abuse the warp ability better than I've been doing. Because I gotta tell you, like we're not gonna see that here. I only bring it up because there's the possibility of Sky Terran in some aspect of this, but man, walking a battlecruiser to a mineral line and then warping it out just feels so good instead of warping in for the fight.
All right. Well, I do like that you tied it back into the Sky Terran possibility because it is Dusk Towers.
Yes.
And it's easy.
Specifically because it's Dusk Towers.
Yeah. Now I'm not so sure that reality is gonna have to do that. I guess is the best way to put it. So it's not like Terrans are so frustrated with the late game that they're like, okay, Sky Terran or bust. It's not like a Forge Fast, Expanding Wings, Liberty, but it is something that is an option if you know that you aren't going to be able to pressure the Zerg correctly and you know you're going to have to deal with late game Zerg. You can try and just turtle up and play like a mech player just with Sky Terran instead of a bunch of factories.
Well, another aspect of that too it's not happening here. Just remember that Reality used to play mech quite a bit too, but the thing I was actually really going to be most interested in, it's not to see Reality go like 100 Liberators, because let's be honest, we might still see that anyways, but Scarlett and her reaction to said build, if that ends up being like the late game composition. Reality Vero may just stick up Marines, Marauders, do the focus fire, get the ghosts, like everything that we've seen be normal go to this matchup.
I like some of the excuses coming out. He was playing with his feet at 2 a.m.
Oh well, you know what? One arm, that's believable, but feet, that's just ridiculous.
That's stupid. Hellion's being used to sacrifice and just get as many drones as possible. Seen before.
That's kind of close. I mean, like the magic number you want with this is about 8. It's not too bad. It's kind of close. Gets a big scout off in the back of the base too. Sees that Bailey nest. Knows it's not finished, so knows he won't have to worry about anything for a certain time. Right.
That's certainly true. So I think that if it's Zerg, you saw slow Ling, so I think like you're gonna guess they're gonna be pretty greedy. It's still a possibility, I suppose, that she was getting a Roach Warren, but it's Dusk Towers, it's Zerg on Dusk Towers, it's Scarlet on Dusk Towers. I think that if you had to guess, if you did not get the scout, then I think it would have been very comfortable guessing Mutiling Bling. And that's certainly where it's going for is, the melee upgrades and Bailey Nest and whatnot. So, speaking of speed, she just finished it for the Speedlings. Now she starts typical hooks, which is what I was going to talk about. So you don't want to be caught with a push without that. And she won't be. The 1-1 upgrade still has a finish for Reality, and being a much longer map than Arena, even if he does push kind of a little bit preemptively, he should still, get there in time for her speed to finish. Or he's going to drop, and that just goes kaput. Okay, then. Well, dropping right next to an Overlord, so she sees it, hopefully, and this is not totally unexpected. 16 Marines to the 4th base can get an instant cancel or an instant kill, depending if it's done or not.
I think that Jones stopped for a second. It was like, I wonder if... Nah.
I don't think she actually saw it.
Okay, that could be a bit of an issue. Starting to run forward with the Marines will give the alert, so she knows at least at the top of her ramp she can hold up. Spike Horror will buy a little bit of time. Not a lot, but a little bit. Some Banelings on the way now. Queen's going to try and distract. I mean, their sacrifice would be worth getting the Banelings out.
And this is not her 4th base, so even if he tried to... Oh, no. Oh, well, actually, this doesn't go so bad. I thought with the Banelings coming in one at a time, they'd be sniped, but that actually was fine. I was going to say, even if he had time to snipe it, it wasn't the actual 4th base. I thought he was going to kill the 4th base, like snipe it immediately as it finishes up now. Instead, going for the creep isn't the worst thing, but it would have been so much better if he'd also gotten the creep queens. Now it just gets replanted.
Widow Mines coming up behind this, by the way, for Reality is something a little bit odd to see. I think we're all used to seeing tanks be the go-to nowadays, with medevacs picking them up and shuffling them around. But Widow Mines, while a little bit of a gamble, because sometimes they're great and sometimes they're garbage, are still an absolutely appropriate response to what Scarlett's going for. It is worth noting, though, that Reality is starting to split her a bit thin, and this is where it gets a little bit concerning because the army supplies are pretty close. If Scarlett takes any bad losses, any bad trades, she's going to start falling behind, and that will snowball fairly quickly. Drops in the main are going to try and get pre-jumped on with these lings. There's a Widow Mine or two with this.
That might actually help her. No, that didn't. But
Friendly
still.
fire can be a son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Cleans it up with not too much difficulty, but more importantly, like cleans that up plus off to the left. She still hasn't taken any damage from that drop. An attack off the middle would be scary, but it's really not that much. So this is starting to get a bit worrying for reality. She's got up to like 78 drones. She's getting upgrades faster than him. Her mute account's starting to get higher, not insane yet, only going up to 13. And this is where, like, if she is allowed to get maxed out, Mutiling Bling is still a good composition. You can potentially like throw away too many Banelings, sure, but it's still, like, especially on Dusk Tower, is very good. And I think he's already anticipating the Ultralisk move as 4 Marauders at a time.
That's quite a bit.
Very heavy Marauder count.
I mean, you could argue that he wants to soak Banelings, but I agree. I think he's thinking more towards the Ultras a little bit later on. The one concern with this is Scarlett really... Oh! Muta's... Okay, I'm not sure if that's on purpose or not. But
right? I was like, is this gonna
I was going to mention the Muta count is growing, so in fact, she's still going for 10 more behind this. So the Marauder count could actually hurt a little bit. I mean, you don't need a lot of Marines to deal with Mutalisks, of course, but still the fact remains Marauders don't shoot up, as you've classically suggested they should.
Yeah, it is a problem. Like, if she was going mass Banelings, and I mean, like, most of her army was Banelings, and the Marauders are great. Like, they're going to be a wall in front of Marines, and hopefully the Widow Mines help out a little bit as well. But actually, Lings in this situation, especially upgraded Lings, she's having an upgrade lead for a little while, will actually do, like, okay against the smaller, like, sections of this army. And then, yeah, the Mutas as well will be able to snipe a couple of these units as they get too far away from enough Marines.
Yeah, a big part of this, too, though, is going to be Reality... getting like the further he dips on creep, okay, that's one thing, but another thing is like the further he gets away with the Widow Mines, it's not about taking a fight with the army, but it's the Mutas coming in from behind and sniping off said Widow Mines, because those are the only things keeping him from just flooding it with a giant A move. We do have a bit of a drop on the backside of that natural. She's gonna have to segment some Mutas back there to defend it if she's paying attention, but I'm not sure that's a priority. It's gonna be the Mutas that clean this up.
Yeah.
Or try to. That's a lot. Banelings and Marines on the front lines colliding with one another. Looks like those Widow Mines are getting fantastic hits to the zombie grub.
Well, this is still good enough. The Marauders were a wall that the Banelings almost crashed into, but they're still hitting mostly the Marines. Still a lot of control going down, even though she cleaned up the drop as well. And now there's very few Marines, especially as he snipes that one medevac, that Ling reinforcements and Mutas, I think, should be able to hold on again. But this is, I mean, I thought I was worried for Reality. Reality, I didn't even notice, got a 4th base with the main command center and a 5th with what should have been his 4th. So... well, I guess it's on the way, but still, like, this is, I thought he would be still on 3 base or just getting his 4th up, not the case, and he's just rallying in bio.
This is, I mean, you're right, like, the transfer from the main makes it feel a little bit more dedicated than it is, but I guess he's not really too worried about gas right now. With that much mineral income, he just pumped Marine after Marine after Marine. They're both sitting on like 2,000 at least for income. Mutalisk came out pretty high, but could be easily picked off if not careful. That's still some Widow Mines. Oh my god! Oh, just threw up in my mouth a little bit for the Zerg.
Oh my god. I thought she was going to overwhelm him with that many Banelings. That was a perfect Widow Mine hit. Now here's where a count of like 30 Mutas would easily clean everything up, especially because they have got upgraded. They're at 1-1, not just 1, but she is still only at 18. She's lost, a couple with every engagement. Still holding on. Like the fact that she lost her 5th when Reality is still mining happily off of 3.5 bases, that sucks.
Yeah, quick peek at the income graph though shows that she has been kicking ass for like 10 minutes straight when it comes to the money game.
Well, it's is also a case where she did end up getting high. Like she got high like 2 minutes ago, I think, but obviously had to deal with the Terran Force, so it wasn't too quick to get to the Ultralisk Cavern. And I do even wonder, does she want to go for Ultras? Because she's still upgrading the Mutas with +2 Carapace, and of course prioritizing the ground upgrades initially, including the adrenal glands.
The Carapace upgrade is certainly very interesting to see. It'll make them slightly more durable versus the Marines, but I mean, bunch of Marines are still going to kill the Mutas, like even on +3 Carapace or not.
Yeah, and at this point, most of the Terrans have also gone to Liberators, and yeah, the Carapace are not. Like Liberators, if you bump up, we're going to do some pretty serious damage. This is the first time that the Mutas are going to be used for harassments, so maybe going to bring Reality back. Nah, just cleans up in the drop.
Oh, nice micro on the low Mutas. The costs her 1 or 2 though, so Not the greatest trade going on for that medevac.
Mm.
But it
Another
does
drop
remove it.
going into the main base, it looks like. It's going to go over creep, so, I mean, it's scouted. And with the creep spreading, by the way, which she's done a pretty good job of, despite all the pressure she's faced, this gives her, like, not not as much confidence as it used to give, because creep does recede very quickly in Legacy of the Void, but still some confidence to know that you have time to clean up these drops and still have all your entire army back on the front lines when they actually push.
Well, Chitinous Plating and the Ultralis Cavern revealed, at least the Ultralis Cavern wiggling. I am thinking that reality, with the amount of Marauders he currently has, can deal with low amounts of Ultras, but I don't think he can deal with low amounts of Ultras and high amounts of Lings is the problem.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, it is about the Lings here as they get their 3-3 finished up, but reality also caught up in the 3 weapons, so...
Well, Scarlett's just got a pretty substantial lead right now when it comes to supply. And I really do like the choice to get Infestors instead of trying to get something like Vipers. You could abduct the Liberators, you can throw in Parasitic Bombs, but truth be told, a Fungal Growth holding the ground army in place so the Ultras can just kill them,
yeah.
it's probably worth it.
Reality did get a second starport around the time we started talking about Liberators, but I guess one of them has a tech lab, I guess. So only 3 at a time, but still, like, given a couple of minutes, suddenly the Liberators are a problem, and Scarlett might want to start thinking about Corruptors, take care of them. But now in 5 bases again, probably going to start looking for that 6th to the top left, which Reality's going to keep eyes on.
Actually, that's a good point, because Scarlett did jettison very early to lots of bases, but then hasn't really expanded beyond that. So we looked at her income a little while ago, and it was so good, but the worrisome is... the worrisome thing is, did it fall off in the meantime? I mean, Reality should have pulled ahead. In fact, that is going to be the case. Scarlett's gigantic lead dips. We'll talk more about that afterwards, though, because this army fight is going to determine whether any of that money matters or not.
The Infestors are the ones going through the Liberation Zones.
Well, he's cutting away from the Liberators as well, which is a little concerning. Scarlett's going to split her mutas and try and take on these... I think she was a little indecisive. I think she wanted to fungal the Liberators to help her mutas, but she could have had an opportunity to backstab the army of the Terran and get fungals there, but it looks like they didn't really need it. The Ultras still pushed through, forced Reality to lift up and medevacs. That's pretty dangerous. Now he has to actually unload. That's not a planetary either. Let's not forget that was the main transferred over. Kind of forgot about that aspect of it. Infested Terrans are an interesting solution to the Liberators.
I guess just soak as many shots as possible, because I don't think they're really going to kill all of them. Get one. Not a bad idea. And they are still in their anti-ground mode, so the mutas coming in here and picking them off. Whoopsie-daisy. Definitely a mistake there.
Meanwhile, looks like we got 3 Marauders denying some mining on that one base.
Oh, GG.
GG. All right, so that's going to tie it up 1-1 here for Scarlett. Nicely done. Good macro. You give this woman 70 drones, she can do whatever she wants. But that'll send us to game number 3. So thank you to Campbell's Soup for the 3-month resub. We're going to go to a small 2-minute break. We'll see you guys for game 3 when we return. All right, folks, we're back. It is tied up 1-1, but we got some news. Not that this changes a damn thing about how we're going to be covering games today, but our admin's internet is out. So the order in which we'll be doing not replays, excuse me, these are live matches. The semifinals, excuse me, are going to be, we'll finish this series. Winner moves on to fight against Seed, but we're actually going to be casting Armani and Hydra first, then Seed versus the winner of this. So, again, our admin's internet's out, and that's not really relevant to you guys, but I'm just letting you know the order in which we'll be doing the semifinals so everyone is fully aware. But welcome back. Game number 3. It's tied up 1-1. Ace match, anybody? In the bottom right side, it's going to be the pink Zerg player. On fires, Scarlett. But pretty much just Scarlett.
Going for an early pull. In the bottom left, as the red Terran, it is Reality. Let's talk about that early pull. I thought it was just going to be an extractor trick.
Yeah, same.
Then, it just kept on going. So it makes sense though. So like usually an early pull versus a Terran is just really risky, especially if it's in a very obvious path. You know, it's like a multi-spawn map. The Reaper will catch your Lings and they won't be able to do anything. But you know, we saw that one Zerg on Frozen Temple hide the Lings and still do a lot of damage, which is pretty cool. I imagine that even if she is scouted by the Reaper, with the Lings, you know, and unable to get the kill on the SCV, that she's still going to break down the rocks, potentially, and be able to mac her out of this. don't remember who it was.
I think it was Guru, wasn't it?
It was definitely a European.
It was Laser Guru, one of the two. But anyways, yeah, Scarlett's going to be taking a natural base. So it's not like this crazy, ridiculous all-in. But as you pointed out, the rocks are a pretty important aspect of it. 4 legs might not seem like much. You might be questioning the investment in that speed. Because she did pull off of gas afterwards. It was strictly just to get that speed early on. But whether you're knocking down your opponent's rocks or just running over to get some kills on an SUV taking a command center, which looks to be the case, by the way, for Scarlett, this could be worth it. It's not the most cost-effective opening, but damage dealt can make it a cost-effective opening.
So, I guess the Reaper, I kind of forgot, to be honest, that the Reaper on this map, if you send it across to the main base, will actually go through the smiley face. So it was a case where like she would have gotten by the Reaper almost 100%, unless Reality took an odd pathway with the Reaper. So that's plus the speed was also so quick.
Yeah, she's got 2 Marines. She got an SCV for it. She's looking at another one. Reaper with Ling Speed Finish is gonna trouble tracking these down. But it's important that he brought this back. You know, the others. Actually, that's a lot of Lings coming. Jesus, this is actually with only one Reaper, perhaps not defendable.
This is, I feel, an option that not many Zergs choose, and not many Terrans feel like, you know, they have to prepare for. But I guess I've like had this occur to me once or twice, and I'm sure pro gamers have witnessed it too. But you know, the Lings kill your SCV. That's a bummer. They harass your command center, but then they continue flooding Speedlings. And if your Reaper dies in a situation, it is really bad. Now he got a Hellion basically for emergency. Like I don't think he actually wanted to get a Hellion, but he had to. So in total, 8 SCVs went down. 9, actually. I guess the one scouting or something.
Yeah, that's actually so. That really sucks for Reality here. He's not just down in workers in general, but this is the command center being delayed. He barely got the orbital up. I mean, I wasn't sure about the timing on that finishing either because it was so close, but the Lings were like zoning it out. I do want to remotely go back, or not remotely, temporarily go back to the Reaper comment too. You talk about coming through the middle of the map. The other aspect of this too is like, let's say Reality done, he did some sort of blind build that Scarlett wasn't ready for, right? Like let's say this was 3 racks Reaper from the home base. This map is very limited on where you can send Reapers into the main. There's only one way up after all. So Scarlett's build ends up benefiting her in both this and even cheesier scenarios. Yeah, because you get there quickly, but then you actually have to go through the natural anyway. So I think like if you were to do this build and get like 100% everything you wanted, I think you actually get the command center cancel, which is a pretty big deal. But instead of the cancel getting like a little bit of army as well as a lot of workers, it might be like fair trade there. We'll see. Scarlett is going to go for a Spire, two-base Spire, which I think would have been the option regardless of the opener, as this map is the way it is. I was going to say this medevac drop should drop soon. It is going to get pretty good hit. Of course, for Reality, it's not just like, oh, he's getting some good damage from the Marines. It's damage he needed to get done with the Marines himself, even up the fight from what happened earlier. But Scarlett's running in with Lings. She doesn't have that many. In fact, what few there were died immediately. Yeah, I was like, this is questionable. So she's building 8 more, and Queens, I think, was what I was waiting for to come to the rescue. A Spore Crawler was just seconds away from finishing to help deal with the drop, so it is moved to help deal with the Widowmine at the very least. But I do believe that Widowmine got more kills, and suddenly those 8 workers earlier on just 11. Don't matter. And Scarlett can't get the mutas up because that Liberator's camping the eggs. Oh, that's pretty good. God damn Liberators. That Widowmine didn't even get cleaned up at all. And she's gonna be like, why do I got all this money, man? Oh, jeez. Yeah, right? 23 workers 23 dead. Workers. If she had taken half that, I'd still be, like, kind of in favor, but... Oh, God. Oh, no. The one muta that could have dealt with the Liberator. Oh, God. Your turn. Okay, not only did he pay her back in full, he gave her some extra spice to go with it. But I think one of the things that really concerns me is Scarlett, I don't think was wrong to have played a bit greedy off of her opening, right? Like, she really caught Reality with his pants down. She did quite a bit of damage with those Lings early on. I'm not surprised she didn't have units to deal with this. Droning was like the opportune thing to do, and that just cost her all those drones, all that lovely lead she had gained early on. Yeah.
And she was literally like seconds away from having a sport crawler that would have damaged the medevac so significantly that the queen would have been able to pick it off, as well as deal with the liberator because she wouldn't have been, you know, chasing the medevac everywhere.
Right, and that's the thing too. If that Woodbine had gone down, she wouldn't have been able to position the sport crawler immediately underneath the liberator as well. So, I mean, this was for Scarlett not like she was totally unequipped to deal with it, but she was definitely unprepared. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Reality's going to scout the third being a little bit delayed too, and probably put a smile on his Terran face, knowing that he's not going to be super far behind. I think the problem is, like, even if you kill a ton of workers, and he may or may not even realize those Widowmines got those hits, it's still hard to gauge whether you've done enough damage. Zerg just has so many drones on the normal.
Yeah, I think everyone knows what you mean. But it is the case that, like, we look at the numbers and it's terrible to have a Zerg player down 10 drones. They should be up 10 at least, when you consider that Reality now has 3 mules.
Look at the income graph.
Yeah, I was looking at the income in the bottom right. It's pretty insane. So I would say, like, mutas can do a whole lot, and they can, but liberators are a problem. You would have to hope that Reality just forgot about liberators like he did kind of last game, but you know, he eventually got them last game, and here he gets them right off the bat, worrying that maybe mutas could bring her back in this game. But she has, you know, she had Burrowed Banelings, or she even had Curse with Biles from Ravagers. I'd be like, okay, she can buy some time, and I guess Breaking the Rocks also buys time, but no Roach speed, despite wanting to go into Roaches on this map. Not enough mutas to threaten a counterattack, only at 5. This game is pretty over.
Yeah, I hate to be that bleak about it too. I mean, the upgrades really seal the deal.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. I actually cannot imagine what Reality would do, because there's nothing explosive.
Roaches aren't bad for fighting if she had enough, and a couple corrosive biles here and there. I mean, I don't think it's impossible that in, like, the perfect world where Reality makes mistakes and Scarlett plays like a god, does she, like, come out of this ahead? Maybe in one weird situation. But that's the sad reality only in terms of army fight. Like, there is nothing going on across the map, as you pointed out. There's no extra damage happening, so everything she's doing is just strictly defending. And again, in that perfect situation of defending, it still doesn't get her ahead in the game.
Yeah, losing the third is definitely a nail in the coffin, but I guess she's going to give one last chance at her army taking a fight here. But can't even really deal with the Liberators. There's only 4 Ravagers, and the Liberators being a little bit spread apart.
Oh my
there's
god.
Nothing.
You know what this means, though, right?
One less Zerg.
No ZVZ finals, more importantly.
Oh, okay.
Corsair Biles will take out one of the Liberators, but the Widowmines haven't even gotten involved with the fight yet. Marine's just stuttering forward, stimming to win. And that looks to be about the case here. Widowmines popping off on Overlords look a little bit silly, but that's going to be everything for Scarlett, as she does fall here in game number 3. But not a bad showing for it. This game opened up really strong for her, for certain.
Yeah, it did. It did. Well, that's unfortunate. GG. Congratulations to Reality.
Yeah, he'll take the series 2-1 and move on to fight against Seed in a best-of-5 semifinals. But as mentioned before, despite the dreaded ZVZ being what it is, I actually love ZVZ in these situations where you've got one ZVZ out of several games cast. I think ZVZ itself is actually very fun, especially when you've got players who know how to play it well. It's just, again, we've talked about this so many times, when it's the only thing you cast. It is draining, to say the least. So we'll hop into this next series here ASAP, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes.